Opa-locka CRA meeting. And if the attorney would read into the record, please.
We can do it after the roll call.
Opa-locka CRA meeting and.
Okay. Board Member Burke. Board Member Davis.
Present.
Board Member Paget.
He called and said he wouldn't be able to make the meeting today. If he did, it would be very late.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Taylor.
Present.
Board Member Titus.
Present. I would like to state that I do have another meeting at 7 p.m., so I'm asking to be excused at 6:45, please.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Board Member Williams.
Good evening, good afternoon. I'm present.
Thank you. And Chair Russell.
I'm present, and
Okay.
let the record reflect that Board Member Burke is now on the meeting.
Yes, I do see him. Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna
Attendance
ask-
confirmed.
Okay, Board Member Taylor, would you give us a word of prayer, please?
Chair Russell?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Attorney. I remembered you, then I forgot you. I'm sorry.
No worries.
It's you. It's on you.
Pursuant to Resolution 21-9835, passed by the City Commission on November 12th, 2020, the City of Opa-locka may conduct certain public meetings without having quorum of its members present physically or any specific location and utilizing communications media technologies such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120.54 5B2 of the Florida statutes. The member of this meeting have been announced by the roll call. An opportunity was given to the public to address the City Communities Redevelopment Agency Board by sending an email to the CRA clerk at crapubliccomments@opalockafl.gov, and the clerk will announce all public comments at the appropriate time.
Thank you, ma'am. Board Member Taylor, would you give us a word of prayer, please?
Yes, ma'am. God, we thank you for bringing us together one more time in your name. God, we ask that you come into this meeting and we may lead your people your way. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Can we have the Pledge of Allegiance? Can you lead us, Board Member Burke or someone, please? I did see he's left.
Madam Chair, board members, okay. I don't know if he wants to lead, but I can lead it. I pledge
Legion.
to the flag of the United States of
America, and to the republic which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
God.
indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
Thank you, Board Member Davis. Madam Clerk, do we have any add-ons?
No, ma'am. At this time, we do not have any add-ons.
Okay. We'll move to the approval of the minutes of the October's meeting. Can I get someone to move it or?
Move it.
Moved by Board Member Taylor,
Second.
second by Board Member Williams. Are there any corrections to be made? Seeing none or hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you roll call, please?
Board Member Burke.
Yes.
Board Member Davis.
Yes.
Board Member Taylor.
Yes.
Board Member Titus.
Yes.
Board Member Williams.
Yes.
Chair Russell.
Yes.
Minutes confirmed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Did we get any public comments?
I'm looking now and I don't see any comments at the moment.
Okay. Well, Hearing that there's no public comments, we'll move on to the next item, which is resolution. And we'll ask Madam Attorney if she would read the resolution into the minutes, please, into the meeting.
Sure. A resolution of the City of Opa-locka Community Redevelopment Agency approving and adopting budget amendment number 1 to the Opa-locka Community Agency's general operating and tax increment fund budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021, as set forth in Exhibit A, directing the Executive Director to transmit a copy of said budget amendment to the City of Opa-locka and Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for a severability clause, providing for a conflict of repealer clause, providing for an effective date.
You're muted, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Did everyone hear?
Yes.
Did all the board members hear the reading of the resolution?
Yes.
Yes, we read it.
Okay. Can I get someone to move it, please?
Move it.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I said move it, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
We need a second, Board Member Burke.
I'll second it. Go ahead.
Okay. Any questions or concerns for the director?
Madam Chair, we do have Mr. Robert Anathan, who is the budget director for the city, who has worked on this particular amendment and update to our budget. And first and foremost, let me just take a step back and say welcome to our first CRA meeting for 2021, and welcome to our new CRA members who are a part of this. Now stepping back into the resolution, this is a matter that needs to be addressed as we make adjustments to our budget. When we initially did our budget, funds were basically placed within the trust account, but not necessarily attached to those particular budget line items. If you would like, Mr. Anderson, I'll give you a brief explanation as to the purpose of this first budget amendment. And then if you have any questions or concerns, you can address those at that time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gay. But before, Mr. Anathan, before you begin, can you tell the board what page is the budget on so we can follow along?
Budget information is on page 18, 17 and 18. Right, and actually it's page 17.
Okay, that's Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, that's correct.
So I see Exhibit B, I don't see Exhibit A. Okay, Mr. Anthony, you can go ahead and start. Did everyone has it that you can follow along?
Yes.
Yes, I'm following.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, good evening, Chairperson, Board, Bob Anathan, Budget Administrator for the city. This is a very simple budget amendment. If you're looking at the exhibit, the left column is the adopted budget that has been previously transmitted to the city and to the county. The center column is where the budget amendment is. It's a very simple one. All it's doing is taking $6,000 that should have been budgeted for advertising, but was overlooked when the budget was put together, And you'll see a little further down, there's a line called the trust account reserve. That's really a contingency number. So all this budget amendment is doing is taking $6,000 out of the reserve or the contingency or the trust account, whichever you want to call it, and move it up into the line for advertising so that all future meetings can be advertised against an improved budget. So that's basically what this is all about.
Okay, Mr. Anathan, can you tell us for the advertising, for the money that's being moved from the one line item to the other, where was that money taken from? What line item was it taken from?
As I said, if you look about 2/3 of the way down the page, you're going to see a line that says reserve trust account. And you'll see a negative $6,000 there. And as I said, it's called a trust account, but really it's a contingency number within that budget. So the $6,000 did come out of the reserve trust account. Down at the bottom there. About 2/3 of the way down.
Mhm.
Where? Excuse me, madam. Where are we at? I'm not seeing,
I'm trying to find that page too. And I've asked, please, Mr. Director, if they would please put page numbers on the documents.
I see Exhibit A and I see Exhibit B.
Chair Russell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so under the header that says H for resolution, after the
Yes, ma'am.
resolution, you're gonna see where it says Exhibit A, that front sheet. That's where we're at, just for confirmation.
Okay, where it has the resolution,
And
and
after,
then,
yes,
and then behind the resolution.
yes, ma'am, it's gonna say Exhibit A, that sheet.
Okay, because there's
Yes.
there's two Exhibit A's in the book, and the one that Mr. Gay said, page 19, and that can't be page 19, so.
It's actually page 17.
Yeah, he didn't count that well.
I'm actually looking at the online version. So the
Oh,
online
okay.
version, I can actually see the exact page number.
Oh, okay. In the written copy, we don't have the page numbers on it. Okay, but I see where you're at, Mr. Anthony.
Okay. Now that everybody's looking at the same page, are there any questions? Is there any need for me to go back through it? Or are there any questions this time? As I said, it's a very simple budget amendment.
I don't.
Anyone have any questions concerning the amendment?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Yes, through the chair to Mr. Anathan. I just wanted to get a little bit more information on the expenditure. You alluded to that it was for marketing, I guess related to this board, the CRA board, or just can you speak to the marketing aspect of this budget amendment, Mr. Anathan?
Yes, sir. No, this is not, all this is advertising so that all the meetings can be noticed properly. This has nothing to do with marketing. I apologize
Okay.
if I didn't make that clear.
Oh, okay, sorry. So just for the noticing of the CRA board meetings. Okay, thank you.
Exactly.
Okay, no, this resolution is only pertaining to the to that one amendment that we're doing. But Mr. Gay, can I ask you, are we going to discuss the budget any?
No, we're not going to be discussing the balance of the budget. This budget has already been approved. This is basically to address the budget amendment, which is the
Okay.
item Mr. Anathan just spoke on.
Okay, well, in the resolution on section 3, it says the executive director, and I know we've been using quite a few different terms, you know, the management. So the executive director of the CRA, that would be the city manager.
That's correct.
Okay,
And I'm serving as CRA manager in his appointing.
Yeah, I understand that, but I want to make sure that we're consistent in the wording that we use in the documents, that, we're consistent as to what the titles that we're referring to. So there's no confusion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? If not, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Board Member Burke,
Yes.
Board Member Davis,
Yes.
Board Member Taylor,
Yes.
Board Member Titus,
Yes,
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Chair Russell.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passed.
The next item says discussion and presentations. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Director, to go through these items. Let's take into account Board Member Titus has to leave at, I think, 6:30, 6:45. So if we could try to spend a fair amount, but not too much on each one of these items, so that we could try to get through this
Okay.
agenda.
Excuse me,
Thank you, Madam
I'm sorry, Chairwoman Russell.
Yes, sir.
We also have commission meeting tonight that we have to get to, Shabandi also.
Oh, okay. Well, if Mr. Gay, if you could kind of condense some of these things, because I know everyone is at home and you have to travel to Shabandi for the next meeting. And while we're on that note, I asked the clerk if she would please, because the commission have gone to having meetings at Shabandi in person, if we would schedule our meetings to be at Shabandi as well, so that, you all will already be there and you won't have to be traveling from one place to the other. So she's going to take care of that for the next meeting. We tried to do it this meeting, but the advertisement had already gone out. So we'll try to make it convenient for everyone.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gay.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. The discussion items are some action items and information that really need to be addressed, and they haven't been addressed for quite some time. The first item is to discuss the selection of new officials for the CRA. As you all know, we've had a chairwoman since 2016, and that being Ms. Russell, who has gallantly served as a chairwoman for the past four or 5 years, and we appreciate her services within that particular position. We did have a vice chair in Commissioner Kelly, and upon his end of being termed as the commissioner with the city, his vice chairmanship also ended. So in essence, we have a vacancy as it relates to the vice chair. What I wanted to do is at least bring this information to your attention and have some of the members take in consideration whether we need to make some changes to the officerships, whether it be the selection of a new chair, and also deal with the issue of the vice chair and having a selection of the vice chair. So I was bringing that information to your attention. It does not require action for today, but I think it's something that the board needs to consider and discuss so that at future meetings, we can make a decision as it relates to those particular positions.
Mr. Gay?
Yes, ma'am.
On that note, according to our bylaws, we have until March, I think it's the 24th or the 27th, to elect officers. So it can be done at our next board meeting in the month of March. No, I think I said March. In the month of March. And it's the will of the board if you all want to do a slate or you want to take nominations from the floor. We'll have the clerk to poll everyone before the next meeting so it can be done. If that's the will of the board. Okay, you can continue.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. The next item, which is I2, is the updating of the CRA bylaws. As the city was going through its challenges and being reviewed by the Auditor General, one of the items that was flagged as a part of the findings was the CRA's bylaws. Contained within your package is the bylaws for the CRA. It was identified within that particular finding that there were some issues relating to the bylaws of matters and items that needed to be updated or needed to be amended. What I would like for the board to do is to at least go through the bylaws, and we as staff have also looked at where those particular amendments need to take place. We will be sending you information relating to the amendments for the bylaws according to what the Auditor General findings reported, but we want you to take a look at it as well so that we can begin to make those particular amendments to the bylaws and take them through their particular process for approval.
Mr. Gay?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please send us again the copy of the findings from the Auditor General? Because I thought we had addressed those items that was in the findings last year. And also to make a correction, I've only been chair of the board for like 3 years. It wasn't 5.
Okay.
But can you please forward us those findings so that when we're looking at the bylaws, we'll know what corrections that need to be made?
Yes, we will forward information to you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Through the chair to the director, Mr. Gay. From my understanding, I know we had one of the 99 findings tied to the, I guess it was the official MOU or developing an agreement between the CRA and the city and reconciling those finances and that sort of thing. From my knowledge, that was one of the most prevalent or the one of the finding that stood out that we needed to address. I guess the items that you're speaking of today does not include I guess the MOU. So you're speaking of other items. Can you elaborate on those items? I'm just curious to know, like, is it associated with the 99 findings or like what is the I guess where do these items come from? Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm speaking in regards to the bylaws at this time. We do have another update relating to the memorandum of understanding, which is required to be reviewed on an annual basis. I'm going to speak to that after this one. As it relates to the bylaws, there was a finding, and I'm going to note it here, and we will provide this information to you. There was a finding that there was an issue with the way it is finding 98, where it reads that the CRA records did not evidence the decision made in adopting the CRA bylaws that were made in accordance with the state law requirements. And within that, there was some questions relating to the board members that were appointed by commissioners who are a part of the district within Miami-Dade County and their appointees. Those particular parts of the bylaws did not read according to what it needed to in addressing those particular positions. And the approval of the CRA bylaws. Those are the issues that we need to look at. There are some other things that we've noticed within the bylaws itself that need to be modified or amended. And staff is going to provide you with that information as well, so that you'll have a better understanding where some of the issues and questions relating to the bylaws are in place and what areas need to be amended. So.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, that's the approval of the actual bylaws itself. It was a problem with that process.
Yes.
And the second additional item, help me out, Mr. Gay. It was what?
The appointed positions from the Miami-Dade County.
From the Miami-Dade County, that process.
Yes.
Okay, so both of those are the two items that are being addressed.
Yes.
Got it.
Those are definitely two issues that would have to be amended. And like I said, as we've been reviewing the bylaws, there are some other areas that needs to have some tweaking to it as well.
Got it. And you want us as a board to just look over the bylaws, and at the next meeting we can poll for positions, as well as provide input as it relates to any revisions or inclusions in the bylaws.
Correct.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
At the next meeting, at a minimum, we will probably be bringing resolutions to you relating to the 2 or 3 issues relating to the 99 findings, or the findings relating to the CRA. We will be bringing you action items to address those particular ones.
Great.
Mr. Gay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Board Member Davis. Mr. Gay, when you say the 99 findings, can you not say 99 like they all belong to the CRA? Just give us the number that belongs to the CRA. I think that's about 7 or 8, something like that.
Actually,
so don't give us those 99, okay?
85 to 99. If you want me to be specific, Madam Chair, that's fine. It's findings 85 through 99.
Okay. Also,
Madam
one
Chair.
of the before.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I
Board
was
Member
gonna say,
Davis.
before we move on, Mr. Gay, if you could just give me an inventory of like where we are with the 99 findings. How many do we have left that still needs to be addressed?
That is something that Mr. Anathan has been working on through the chair. That's something that Mr. Anathan has been working on. As you know, the State Oversight Board is supposed to be reviewing where we are relating to those particular findings, as well as with our 5-year recovery program. And Mr. Anathan has been working with updating that information. So we will present to you as a CRA board how we have progressed relating to those CRA items, and you as the commission will also get the update to the entire 99 findings that relate to the entire city.
Okay. Are you done, Board Member Williams? Davis?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair Russell.
Okay, Mr. Gay, I was under the impression, I'm gonna go back over minutes from last year, but I was under the impression that we had addressed the finding for the appointments of the Miami-Dade County. The issue is that in the bylaws, it needed to say that the appointments would coincide with the appointee. Whoever the appointing commissioner is, when their term in, that their appointment's term would end and they have to be reappointed by someone else. That was a process that I thought we had sent that correction to the state concerning the finding. And also the other one about the minutes from the bylaws being approved. The board did approve the bylaws, but the problem is that we didn't have the minutes to go along with it, because at that time, I don't think no one transcribed the minutes. So the board had voted to accept it, but we did not send the minutes relating to that, to that item, to the state. So I was under the impression that both of those items that you're referring to had already been sent up as a corrective, as part of the corrective action plan to the state.
Madam Chair, you are correct as it relates to the actions that were taken to address those particular concerns within the findings itself.
Mhm.
As a board, you have not addressed having a resolution to specifically place that language within our bylaws.
Okay, all right.
We
All
made
right.
a recommendation to the state as to what actions we were going to take. Now I'm going to be presenting before you the action itself.
Oh, okay, because I know that
Make
was,
those corrections.
okay, because I know that's something that we were very adamant as a board that we addressed the findings for the CRA board, and we went over that several times.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions relating to the bylaws? If not, I'll be moving on to the memorandum of understanding. And as board member Davis has spoken on earlier, the memorandum of understanding is a new document that we have put in place. And it was one of the findings that was required as it relates to the 85 through 99 findings that dealt with specifically with the Community Redevelopment Agency. What is required is that we review that document on an annual basis, and whatever modifications or changes that need to be made to the MOU, we address them through a resolution. Staff has taken a cursory review of the MOU, and there are at least 2 or 3 points within the MOU that need to be modified and adjusted. We will be bringing that information to you as a resolution, asking that the memorandum of understanding be amended to reflect those particular changes. So you will have that information brought before you at our next CRA meeting. There are any questions? Hearing no questions, the next 3 items are pretty much going to be status reports. The first one will be dealing with the facade improvement. And I will ask that Mr. Corian Delane, our city planner and project manager for the facade improvement project, give you a brief update as to where that project is moving.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. Good afternoon, board. Just to give a brief overview of the facade improvement program. The program is being orchestrated by the Opa-locka CDC. I believe they're on the call now, and I will give them the floor to give a brief presentation of what the status of the project right now. I believe Eric and Marcia are on the call. They were.
They're unable to speak. I mean, can we go ahead and just, you can give them a brief update as to where we are with the facade improvements?
Okay, to date, there's still presently 6 projects that are ongoing. Staff is currently waiting on the permits to be received by building for review with staff. And that's pretty much the gist of where we are currently with those particular projects.
Okay, I believe within the package that was provided to the board, on on approximately page 48, at least on the digital version. There's a listing that shows the projects, the facade projects that are being entertained at this time. And they are in different locations within the CRA district, but this was a update as of January 18th, 2021. So you can look at that particular document and get a sense of what projects are being addressed. It speaks to the scope of the project and the expected expenditure relating to those particular projects. So that information is being provided. If the board members have any questions for Mr. Delane, you can ask them at this time.
Mr. Gay, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Thank you. If I'm looking at the report correctly, Mr. Gay, I see that we have about, I guess, 5 projects. I heard you guys mention 6 in total. So is there one project that's not included in the package?
I'll clarify. I meant to say 5 projects. We had a 6th project, but we had to omit that one because it was outside of the CRA boundary. So that 6th project is not a part of this program, and it's not being executed.
Oh, okay. So one project was removed because it didn't meet qualifications. Okay. Also, I'm looking at the timeline of completion, and I also heard you mention, I guess there was a holdup with the permitting process. But if I look at the timeline, it's most of the 5 projects are slated to be completed anywhere between March and May of this year.
Yes. So the applicants, they were still working with the architect in terms of putting together their development documentation. So we're still waiting on that to come to the building department for our review to expedite the process to get them their permits so they can begin construction work.
Oh, okay, I got it. So it's not really a permit issue. It's more on the design side with the architects. Got it. I just was wondering, what was the holdup? I'm reading the update that was provided through the board package, and just wanted a little bit more insight as to why the projects, I guess, are being held up. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions regarding the facade improvement program?
I have a question, Mr. Gay. The number 5 that says Cardwell Distribution Company,
Yes, ma'am.
what kind of, what's their scope of work? I guess that would go to Mr. Delane.
Yes, Mr. Delane.
Primarily, they were doing some paint work as well as some kind of aesthetics. Their property is along Alibaba Avenue, and they were looking to do some work that pretty much just highlights the business that's there. Because if you drive by it, you wouldn't know it because it's just a flat gray wall. And they were looking to add some design aesthetics to signify their business location.
Okay. Okay, I would like to encourage the board members to ride by the projects that are in process so that you'll see and be aware of the work that's being done. One other concern that I have, Mr. Gay, is that we were supposed to have signs put up. That was something that we said we were going to do, have signs put up so that the community would know the work being done at that this was a CRA project. And I haven't seen any signs on any of the projects So can you fill me in, let me know when will the signs be up?
We were looking at putting the signs up once the permitting process had been completed and the work is expected to begin. That was pretty much our intent. So we didn't want to have the sign in place and nothing happening while they're still going through the permitting process. So we wanted to have the sign placement and the permit process completed so that people can actually see the work taking place.
Okay, for 3 of these projects, the anticipated completion date is 3/15. That's in less than a month. So that means that it will be completed before the signage goes up. So board members, I need your input. Mr. Gay, we need to have the sign, we need to order the signs, especially for those 3 projects, and get them up so that the community would know what the CRA is involved in, and also others that are riding through our community will know that something is going on. Board members?
Madam Chair, before the board, you're correct. This is somewhat of a dated report since it is from January and we're almost at the end of February. So there probably are some dates that will be adjusted due to the fact that the permitting process and the design process has taken a little bit longer than anticipated. So we will provide you with a more up-to-date timeline to give you a better sense of when those projects will be beginning. In the interim, you're correct. We already know what those particular projects are. So we will be working post haste to get those signs up and let the public and the community know that the CRA is getting some things accomplished as it relates to the facade improvement project.
Can the board have a timeline to get the signs up?
I will have to check with our resources and determine how long it would take to have the signs manufactured and installed. I would say hopefully within a 2-week window, we should be able to have that in place.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gay.
Just a quick second, I just want to advise that both Eric and Marcia were on the call. However, when they were switched over, apparently their video had dropped. So they were on the call, trying to get them back on, but if not, we'll proceed with the meeting as follows.
Okay, thank you. Proceed, Mr. Gay.
Okay, the next item to be discussed is the downtown master plan. As many of the board members would recall, last week we had a workshop that was provided by Stantec. It was a virtual workshop as it relates to the status of the downtown master plan. I believe a lot of the questions and concerns that the board may have had at that time was addressed. But in the interim, since I just wanted to basically, as a part of this public forum, be able to make sure that the community is aware of the workshop that did take place. That information is also being available via YouTube so that you can go back and actually view the workshop itself of the downtown master plan. If there are any questions that you may have had lingering from that workshop, we do have Mr. Delane here who can address those questions. I believe the consultants with Stantec are on standby. So if there's any questions that you may not have asked during the workshop that you may want to ask now, this would be the opportunity to address that.
Mr. Gay, is it on the CRA's webpage with the city?
I have requested that this information be uploaded to the CRA website.
Thank you. Okay, we can move on. The time now is 5:56. We want to try to give this another about 15 minutes to give the board members time to get over to Shabunda and to prepare themselves. If we could,
The the last few items I can breeze through very quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. In talking about other CRA projects, one thing that we had discussed from previous meetings is that our CRA needed to have its own logo since it is a separate entity from the city of Opa-locka. On the first sheet, you will see that is a sampling of what the CRA logos look like for many of the other municipalities within the South Florida community. And as you go to page 56, we had a local graphic artist put together a graphic design for our CRA logo for the Opa-locka Community Redevelopment Agency. Page 56 is the logo design for letterhead and documentation to be provided. And then page 57 is more so of a logo design for as we would place the CRA information on banners, or if it's on advertisement or on particular marketing information. That second logo would be the design, which is basically taking the initial letterhead logo and incorporating the letter CRA with a more artistic form to it. We've always pretty much referred to the Opa-locka Community Redevelopment Agency as the OCRA as an acronym. So we thought that it would be a good opportunity to create this particular logo design and make it kind of a branding material so that as people drive through the community and they see different projects going on, when they see that it's an OCRA, they would know that the CRA was involved with that particular project. So these are the two logo designs. One is for documentation and the other one is for marketing that we are going to proffer before you. We will hope that you would accept these particular designs. The graphic artist had labored for approximately 3 to 4 months, and we had gone back and forth with different iterations of this particular design. And we think this design is probably the best design that suits and represents the Opa-locka Community Redevelopment Agency. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, we would like to address them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. If we could move right along so we could get everyone over to the other meeting.
Okay. The other items is the Innovation District. This is an initiative that comes straight from our Community Redevelopment Plan that speaks to the industrial area between Northwest 22nd and 27th Avenue, north of the railroad right-of-way up to 151st Street. We are looking at opportunities to create this innovation district to promote technology, as well as some of the other industrial uses that are already occurring, and creating a district that could be marketed beyond the city of Opa-locka as an area of opportunity. Mr. Delane has pretty much been the project manager for this particular innovation district. And he has some very unique ideas and some things that we can probably take in consideration as some initiative projects to move this particular innovation district forward. We're looking at it from a zoning perspective, as well as from a marketing and innovation district type of initiative. So there is a documentation that speaks to that. If you would like Mr. Delane to give you a real brief explanation of the innovation district, we can do so at this time.
Mr. Gay, can he give us a written report for time's sake? Can he just send us a written report? And if we have any questions or concerns, we can address them at the next meeting, please.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. And the last two items, which is really more of an FYI, we're going to be bringing you information to look at the creation of incentives for our CRA. One of the main questions that I'm always asked when people are looking at opportunities to do development in the city of Opa-locka is what type of incentives is the city offering? And to be quite honest with you, other than some of the incentives that are being offered through the county, there's very little else that's being offered as an actual incentive. So we need to probably have a workshop as a board to really talk about what we foresee as incentive opportunities and create an incentive package so that as a part of the marketing for the CRA, we can have ideals and things in place that we can say, these are some of the incentives that can be offered to potential developers coming to the area. And the last one is a public-private partnership. We are getting several inquiries. As you all know, there are some vacant properties or underdeveloped properties within the CRA area. And actually a few of them are actually owned by the city. There are groups that are looking at partnering either with the city or with the CRA to develop these particular sites. So we will be bringing forth to you in the very near future some discussions and possibly looking at developing RFPs or RFQs to look at developing a public-private partnership for these particular sites within our CRA area for the city. So you can expect to have those particular things brought before you in very short order. That pretty much covers all of the discussion and presentation items. If there's any questions regarding those particular items, I'll address those at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. Does any of the board members have any questions?
Yes, Chairperson Russell, if I can just offer a suggestion, not so much a question. This is Board Member Williams.
Yes.
Okay. I heard earlier that, hold on one second. I wanted to suggest that with the marketing plan and all the other opportunities that Mr. Delane and everyone else was working on, that we can put a timeline on some of these particular projects, if it's what, and just so that, you know, we have a goal, if there is some type of deliverable and a time that we know that each specific things is going to there's a goal that we're working on. I know that back in December, I did suggest, you know, having some type of marketing flags, something that says welcome to Opa-locka or welcome to downtown Opa-locka. So if we can just work on the smaller goals and knock out some of the things that are easy and on our plate so that we can reach those bigger goals, I think that it would, you know, we would see some return on our investment. Right now is just a little stagnant. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Williams. And these items that Mr. Gay have referred to, most of them are just discussion items or presentations. We have to bring back resolutions for any of these projects, especially for them to move forward. We have to bring back a resolution to the board. And I didn't see Mr. Gay's report. He normally give us a written report so that we would have that report ahead of time and we could peruse it and look at some of the things that we could make sure that we have bring some resolutions so that we're not, everything is just not a discussion item, that we have some action behind some of the items that we're doing. And I think that would help Board Member Williams, to your question as well, and timelines, like for the flags. I mean, not the flags, the signs. By now, we should have had the signs because that was from last year. If we had a specific timeline, then we would know that those things are done. But we understand because of the COVID and we've had some setbacks. But now it's time for us, I think, to move forward with the things that we have to get accomplished. Any other board members have any comments?
Well, Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, so just in reference to, I'm sorry, I'm hearing a bit of an echo. In reference to, I guess, hosting some sort of workshop where we can, as a board, develop incentives for our developers. I don't know if, if we can get the ball rolling on that, or if I need to put a motion on the floor to get consensus. To see when that workshop can happen. I for one have been a big advocate of designing some sort of incentive package to entice outside developers to come in and develop in a way that's not just good for them but also good for our community as well. So if I can through the chair put a motion on the floor to get the ball rolling on that, yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. So I'll put the motion on the floor.
Okay, board member, let me ask the attorney that's on the line. Madam Attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear the motion proffered by board member Davis?
If that's a motion, I think he's looking for a date of some sort. I'm not sure if staff is necessarily prepared, but you all could certainly take up a date if there was a second and you wanted to go forward.
Okay, board member Davis, what would you like to do?
Yeah, I'd like to pose the commission for a date. So if anybody has a date that stands out in their mind, feel free to proffer it.
If I could just, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
If I could just add a little bit to the direction that board member Davis is going in. Over the next 3 months, there's going to be a series of workshops that are going to be developed. And some of them relate to the downtown master plan. Some of them are just workshops dates that we've just kind of penciled in. We may want to look at an opportunity to utilize one of those dates to look at having a workshop specifically devoted to discussions revolving around incentive packages. If I could suggest one, usually the Wednesday within the middle of the month is a good time to do these particular workshops. That's what we did with the downtown master plan last month or earlier this month. So we can look at probably around the 17th of March.
Yes, that's the date I'm looking at here. That would be the middle of the month.
Related workshops that's on that particular date. And we usually like to try to schedule our workshops in between those weeks where where either the CRA or the commission is meeting. So we try to use that off week to set up our workshop. So I would like to suggest that date.
Okay, board member Davis, if that's okay with you, can put it in a motion and we can get a second and move forward.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to put a motion on the floor to hold a workshop to develop incentives for developers on March 17, 2021. So that's the motion.
Second.
Excuse me, Chairwoman Russell?
Yes, sir.
Didn't Mr. Gates say we're already having a workshop on that day? Is this an additional workshop?
Yeah.
Mr. Gates just said there will already be a workshop on that day. So is this an additional workshop that we're trying to get on that date?
I don't think so, Board Member Burke, but Mr. Gay, this is a date that you had set aside already that you wanted to probably have a workshop. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so this is not an additional work. This is not an additional workshop, Board Member Burke. This is just a date that he had set aside for probably a workshop. So we're going to use that date for this particular workshop.
Oh, okay. I thought I was under the impression, I'm sorry, I was under the impression he said that he had workshop on them days.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, no problem. We need a second.
I thought it was second by Board Member Williams.
No, Board Member Titus second.
Okay, Board Member Titus. Board Member Davis, I would like to make a friendly amendment or an add-on item to your workshop.
Okay.
I would like for us as a board to discuss economic development and what it means to this board so that we can have a direct plan as to what we consider to be economic development for this board in moving forward. So I would like that to be a part of the discussion.
Okay. I accept the friendly amendment, Madam Chair. And would you like that item to take precedent on the agenda over the incentives? It seems like that topic is a more broader conversation. So would you like to lead with that and then segue into the developer incentives, that discussion?
I think that would be great, because if we set a precedent as to what we as a board want for economic development, then that would help us better move into the incentives. So, and I think that needs to be the driving car for this board going forth is economic development.
Absolutely, I agree. So I accept the friendly amendment through the chair, Mr. Gay. I know, Madam Attorney, I know you guys are ensure that the proper due diligence is attended to. So thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Burke. Board Member Burke. Okay, Board Member Davis.
Yes.
Board Member Taylor.
Yes.
Board Member Titus.
Yes.
Board Member Williams.
Yes.
Chair Russell.
Yes.
Okay, approved.
Okay, I think we're gonna, I'm gonna move to the general counsel report if she have one, and then of any board comments so that we can adjourn the meeting.
Prior to that, Madam Chair, we do have a financial report. And just to let you know that the director's report is letter I within your packet. It should be on page 58. I pretty much have gone through a majority of the things that are already contained within that director's report, so you can pretty much read that information at your leisure. We did include a financial report. We do have Miss Jerry Lazar, who has been working with the finances for the city for several years now, but at least 2 that I'm aware of. She can, as you can see within that information, we have the bank statements to show actually how much funds are within the CRA TIF account. And if you have any questions relating to the process that we've been going through over the last few months to basically clear up the accounting between the city and the CRA, she can provide you with information on that. So if you would like to hear from Ms. Lazar, she's available.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. I think the last meeting that we had and the new board members the new board members were at that meeting, Mrs. Lazar went over the reconciliation of, I think she went over the reconciliation of this board and the city. So I don't have any questions, but if any board members have any questions, but I see that we have a balance here. So if Mrs. Lazar have anything that she would like to add to her previous presentation that she gave to us, if any changes have been made. I don't see her on the call.
Yes, good evening. I'm on the call, Madam Chair.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
So the only thing I wanted to talk about, I think Mr. Gay summed it up. We did go over the reconciliation in the past. As you know, the CRA receives TIF dollars from the city and the county. And for many years, there was no TIF dollars being generated. But over time, the last few years, there's been some revenues that have been coming in on behalf of the CRA. And so although the CRAs do these monies, the city has also been paying the expenses for the CRA over the since inception. So there needed to be some kind of reconciliation between what the CRA owed the city. And so that was the purpose of the reconciliation that we had presented. Its last updated was for the fiscal 18 audit. We did provide some preliminary estimates to the CRA board last year for the 19 audit, but I always like to share with you until we really finalize the audit, there may be adjustments. And so those numbers may change. I will share with you one item that you don't have as part of your package, but, and I can also share this with Mr. Gay, but this shows the calculation of the TIF dollars that has been generated for the CRA over time. And if you go to column 2021, which is fiscal 21, you'll see that the county's portion to the CRA is 331,355, and the city's portion is 712,555 for fiscal 21, which is a little bit over $1 million. And the only reason I'm pointing this out is just to let you know that this ties directly to that Exhibit A that's in your package that you guys went over earlier with respect to the budget. This is the same amount that was budgeted, and it's the same amount that was deposited into the city's bank account in December. So just want to let you guys know that everything is moving forward. All of the revenues for fiscal 21 have been deposited into the bank account for the CRA, and now we're just working on finalizing the reconciliation for fiscal 19 as we do the audit for the city in conjunction with the CRA to finalize any numbers that are open. Any questions if you should have it?
One question to Mr. Gay, for the audits that, I don't know what happened. To the audits that's being done by the city, is the CRA paying for those audits?
Answer that.
Excuse
if
me?
That helps. To the chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Lazare.
It is budgeted. It is budgeted. It is budgeted. If you look at the budget that you guys have, I think it's about $2,500 that's budgeted for the CRA's portion to be included in the city's audit, full audit. So it is budgeted on an annual basis, and we go over that with Mr. Gay.
Okay.
And just to add a little clarification, going forward, at some point in time, I believe that our budget, since we've gone through this clearing of the accounts between the city and the CRA, at some point in time, the CRA is going to have to do their own separate audits itself. So
I agree.
we have those budgeted amounts in place. That's probably going to be something and once all of the auditing through the past years catch up and get up to speed, we believe that this fiscal year, 2021, will probably be the first year, or maybe 2022 will be the first year where the audit will be for the CRA will be independent of the city's audit. So we're looking to see if that action can occur, and that way we will know more specifically the funds that are available and in place for the city. I mean, for the CRA.
Good point, Mr. Gay, because that's something that we have discussed in the past. We were just waiting on to get up to date, because you can't bring in someone else to do an audit if the past audits haven't been done. So we were just waiting on those past audits to be brought up to date. And then we were definitely going to be looking at the CRA doing their own independent audit. So that is something that's on the agenda. Thank you very much, Mrs. Lazier. We've gone through the financial report. Again, does the General Counsel, Attorney, do you have anything for us?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, any comments by any of the board members? Hearing none, can I get a motion for adjournment?
Move it.
I second Commissioner, Board Member Titus.
Okay. It's been second and been motion and second for adjournment. Everybody have a good evening. God bless you all.
Thank you.
You too.
God bless y'all. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.